Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, a person who committed a crime obviously should face the consequences and, pay them. A person who, was caused pain and suffering, should be, rewarded, or at least, should be compensated. Not rewarded, compensated. In this case, we have a very strange turn of events, or at least a very interesting piece of news regarding the Black Lives Matter protests, the George Floyd protest, peaceful protests from New York this time. And a court over there, I think New York decided to give a lot of money to some people who were arrested during those peaceful protests in New York. And I have two articles that will tell the same story with different words and with different tune. Some will play low, do 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 do, and the other one ti 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 ti. You'll see. We're gonna start with do 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 do. That is Fox News, and then ti ti ti, CBS News or something. All right, here it is. Fox News. New York City agrees to pay Black Lives Matter protesters $13 million in new mass arrest settlement. So some people who were arrested during those mainly peaceful protests get some money, about $9,000 per person, if they proved that they were, assaulted by the police and so on. So this is coming from Fox News, and let's go the t right here. News, this is what? NBC News, I think this is. New York City agrees to pay $13 million to 2020 racial injustice protesters in historic class action. Okay. The lawsuit focused on 18 of the many protests that erupted in New York City in the week following the killing of George Floyd by a police officer in Minneapolis. All right, let's go back to the only thing I'm going to use here is going to be something in the bottom, okay? So I'm where they tell us what actually the police might have done to those people who will get the money. So what tactics they use. So New York City, I already say that, following a civil rights lawsuit settlement filed in Manhattan Federal Court Wednesday. Experts say the settlement, which allows the city to avoid a trial, would be among the most expensive payouts ever for mass arrests. So they got arrested and they sued and they won. It still needs to be approved by a judge before it is finalized. Will be. The lawsuit focused on 18 protests that erupted in New York City in the week following George Floyd's death in May. According to attorneys for the plaintiffs, eligible persons can receive, roughly $10,000 in compensation. Protests and riots following the 2020 killing of Floyd resulted in at least 18 deaths, $350 million worth of property damage in Minneapolis area, and nearly $2 billion nationwide. About 10,000 people were arrested in the span of a few days, and a lot of them were just freed on the spot. Several other cities across the U.S. are negotiating their own settlements concerning of officers handling the protesters who spilled into the streets, with some causing fire, throwing objects, breaking windows, and damaging buildings. I saw a lot of videos. Protesters arrested in connection with violence, those arrested on charge including trespassing, property destruction, assaulting an officer, arson, or weapon possession, will be excluded from the settlement. Those seen on video blocking police from the making arrest may also be ineligible. All right, so this is what the guys are saying, but then we're gonna go to the other one. Let's see what's going on here. Another class action settlement announced earlier this year would award $21,500 to demonstrators in the Bronx who were arrested. The payout could total around $10 million, including legal fees. That's not a lot. You give Ukraine, $100 billion? All right, give them more. because I think New York anyway is going to go bankrupt if it's not already. New York City. Probably not, because they have that financial BS in Manhattan. Separately, more than 600 people have brought individual claims against New York City related to police action during 2020 protests, according to the city's comptroller, Brad blah blah blah. Settlements in these cases have cost the city nearly $10 million. Not a lot. So let's go to the these guys. All right, and somewhere in the bottom, they will tell us what the police officers did. Okay, let me find it for you before. Here it is. During some of the 2020 protest marches, officers deployed a crowd control tactic known as kettling against peaceful protesters, corralling them in tight spaces and attacking them with batons and pepper spray before making mass arrests. So, you got that? This is the two different articles talking about, I think there's the same thing. Let me see if actually the names are the same, the people who wrote the articles, if you have the names. Now this says it came from Associated Press, so this was taken from the other one, and the other one was also probably taken from Associated Press. Let me see. No, this is from Fox News. It doesn't say being taken from Associated Press, but it doesn't matter. They seem very similar, very similar. It's a story by Lawrence Richard, and the other one, the Associated Press. It doesn't say any source. Associated Press doesn't give us, but even though they are very, very similar, the semantics over there. Nevertheless, this is it, my friends. They get money. If they were mistreated, by all means, but I just have a feeling. That's it, my friends. Other people run with billions. These guys, get $10,000. Like James Brown's song, Living in America. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.